tell us about this email and what it was like receiving it and what you all have talked about after getting it.
Sure. I got this email Saturday afternoon, about 3 p.m., and I felt absolutely infuriated getting this email with a demand within 48 hours to provide a response on what I did within the last week or face termination. This is clearly an attempt from Elon Musk to harass and bully and intimidate the federal workforce, which is part of his broader plan to gut the federal workforce. It makes me really angry, and my coworkers as well.
So this is a longish video. Don't turn it off, guys. I don't care if I say something that you think is going to offend you. Listen to the sentence all the way through. It's probably one of the best videos I've ever made. Welcome back, everybody, to Starkey Farmstead. So my name is Samantha. I'm the owner and operator of Starkey Farmstead. I'm excited to say, guys, we're just a few hundred people away from hitting our 100,000 subscriber mark, and I'm so thankful. This is amazing to see our channel, our platform grow to the extent that the Lord has allowed it to grow. So let's just do a few housekeeping things off the bat here. This is not a safe place for your feelings. I don't provide those. I provide truth with receipts. I provide knowledge to those who are hungry for it and a light in the darkness. I don't provide a safe place for you to be offended by the spirit of offense. That is something you're going to need to do on your own time and not all of ours, okay? So what does Sam mean? I'm not being harsh, folks. I'm telling you the truth. Anytime the slip of the tongue or a misspoken word or the fact that I don't know something that you think I should know makes you offended, that's on you. So here recently I made a video and I was talking and I said Puerto Ricans, talking about illegal immigration, and somebody's like, oh my God, did you not know they're part of the United States? Actually, I didn't. Do you realize how much information is inside my brain? I'm being dead serious. I went to college for 10 years. I have 2 college degrees, 4 certifications to teach. I had to take specialized tests, specialized classes. I have a master's plus 19. I'm certified to run a daycare. I am a CNA. I've worked as an animal catcher. I've run an organic, sustainable, no-till, carbon sequestering farm for 4.5 years. There is so much knowledge inside of my brain, and I didn't learn it overnight. I spent years on every separate project and person that I wanted to be and topic I wanted to learn about. I spent years studying that. So I don't know everything. And isn't that a beautiful thing? To see a person, a human, and an adult not be offended because you questioned me and be able to willingly say, no, I didn't know that. Obviously, I probably skipped school the day that they taught that at my school. And yeah, let's be really honest. Did any of you ever doubt that I was the rebellious, skip school child that probably got a whole lot of spankings by her daddy? You guys know my dad, right? Papa Sammy and Allie Bug. Ask that man how many times he had to whip off that belt with this one. I was that kid. They wanted to medicate me, and my dad said, you don't need to medicate her. I got that medication. And he whooped me into shape. I have an amazing dad. Love him. Brilliant, self-taught man. Got his GED on his wedding night with my mom at 21. My husband, no high school diploma. 2 of the most brilliant men I've ever met in my life. In fact, in a survival situation that really counts, in a situation where common sense is the only way to live, and it was me against them, I promise you should definitely pick them. You're only going to survive if you choose them. Because though I carry years of book smarts up here, and I have a great deal of common sense, I still don't know a fraction of what they own. Do y'all know what my daddy calls people who believe that a college degree makes you superior to other people? An educated idiot. So just because I told you how many years and how much information is in my brain, my point of me is telling you this. I don't know everything. Every day I wake up, I'm like, what am I going to learn today? What you got on the agenda for me today, Holy Spirit? Let's do it. Every day I'm digging for truth and for knowledge. I am not somebody that is easily convinced that something is what it is not. I don't know, you guys. I just don't fall for it anymore. So if you're new to my channel, be aware. I have often been called snarky starky. I am a Christian, a born again, Holy Spirit filled, tongue talking, devil chasing, disease destroying, life bringing Christian. I walk in faith. Satan is scared of me. Want to know how I know? Because he comes for me every single day. If he ain't crawling in your window and knocking on your door, baby, it's because you're sitting in them back 40 and you need to get on up and get in this fight. So I wear it as a badge of flipping honor. Because every time he tries to remove and endanger my finances, God sends his children in droves to prove that God is my source. I've been listening to all these people on TikTok, especially Instagram, Facebook. I am the face of the federal government. I am the face of the federal government. I am the face of the federal government. One story after another. It's propaganda.
I used to be a federal employee, and I'm going to tell you why I don't feel bad for federal employees being forced to come back into the workplace. I worked for the Army Corps of Engineers for almost a year, and the abuses that I saw by government employees was astounding and shocking. I worked as a realty specialist, and that is someone who manages government-owned lands. So when farmers and ranchers lease land to graze cattle, we would manage that. When I was hired, my boss bragged that it was basically impossible to get fired from the federal government, and that in her entire time working for the government, she'd only seen one person fired, and that person assaulted a fellow employee, and she wasn't even fired for assaulting the employee at work. She was fired for lying about it because they caught it on camera. One employee spent his time remote working, running his own farm. Another employee bragged about drunk driving and going out to lunch with her friends for margaritas when she was supposed to be remote working. No one would log into their computers, and you can see it because they're not on Teams, and no one ever checked. Our government is filled with the most incompetent and most lazy people, and an occasional hard worker. And those hard workers are severely punished every time they outwork their colleagues, because then the colleagues realize people will see that they're lazy, and they don't want to have to work more. They're just buying time until they retire.
It's propaganda. Let me tell you why it's propaganda. If you stop listening to them, and it's hard to find because mainstream media is not going to show you what Trump is saying and doing. A lot of people keep asking me, saying, well, you know, if that's why Trump changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, why didn't Trump say so? He probably did somewhere. Why didn't mainstream media show it? That's my point. It's not that Trump isn't trying to tell you what's going on. It's that they won't let you hear it. Soros just bought up 40% of all the radio stations. Do you think they're letting you hear it? So I heard back from YouTube. Yep, dangerous content. Can't help me. 60 days to reapply for monetization. So take a second, look in pinned comments, and buy the dogs a treat. Love you guys. I just watched Trump himself is called a primary source of information. I just watched Trump tell all the people that were listening and recording him, we are sending out emails to all federal employees asking who they are, what is your job, What did you do last week? Where do you report to? Why is your position important? He said, we're having to do that because, get ready for this, we have found thousands of people who are on the federal employee register as an employee that don't exist. Let that sink in. So there are people that have job titles, who have job positions in the federal government in every single department, every one of them, every department. They are fake people. These people do not exist. The position does not exist.
Do you think that Doge could benefit from more streamlined communications? There was that email telling employees to give 5 things that they've done last week. Agency heads then told people to ignore it, but Elon Musk...
about the last email that was sent, where he wanted to know what you did this week. You know why he wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great. Because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to find, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And, you know, where's all that? Where's the money going? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, because maybe somebody stole the gold.
They do nothing, and a check is mailed to somebody by that name and that Social Security, and those checks are being cashed. What is that? How is that even possible? That's how messed up our government is right now. That's how big it is. It is like a gluttonous, cancerous tick. Hey dude, why are your lights on? Doing 62, bruh. It's in the country. So anyway, sorry. I'm actually a supporter of the cops, but I do. If he'd have pulled me over, I'd be like, oh, yeah, but in the car, I'm like, what's up? You don't like my speed? Y'all know how I am. Snarky all the way. All right, so let's get this straight, guys. I'm being really serious. Trump said it out of his own mouth. We know there are millions of fake jobs. You have to respond to the email so we know that you're a human.
Listen, these are crazy times. In other news, Elon Musk asked the perfectly reasonable thing of government employees. Tell me 5 useful things you did last week. Try it. It'll probably take you about 2 seconds to complete. The only thing that will be difficult is the edit to get it down to 5. Normally, perfectly reasonable people like Deborah Meaden from Dragon's Den are outraged by the requirement. The same Deborah Meaden that requires entrepreneurs to show up and tell her what they've got done, what they've achieved, and prove their financial credibility.
Now, this is what's shocking me. Republicans, libertarians that voted for Trump, who are now going to town halls crying to their Republican representatives because he's cleaning up the federal government and their job may be in danger or it may be cut. Folks, please hear me when I tell you this. You know how they're sweeping for criminal, all of them are criminal in my opinion, but you know how they're sweeping for illegal, undocumented immigrants, aliens, unwelcome visitors with felonies and other criminal cases against them in their country or ours. And along the way, they're grabbing a hold to Haronde, who's been in America for 25 years, working with a family, never been in trouble. They're picking up Jaquila, Jasmine, and Esmeralda, who's been in America for 10 years, never been in trouble. Sometimes when you have to clean up somebody else's mess, you have to scrap it all. And unfortunately, people get caught up in the net that necessarily maybe could have been gotten later, is what I'm saying. Because I do think they all need to go. After 20 years, you should have already done your paperwork. If you haven't, so your sob story's not working on me. I wouldn't go to your country and hide for 20 years and then be upset when your country sent me home. Sorry, I just wouldn't be. So my point is this, folks. If you know somebody that works for the federal government and they lose their job, it is hard. I just woke up and they're not paying me for my YouTube videos anymore. I just had a video hit 4 million. That means they'd have owed me like $29,000, guys, for one video that I won't see unless God sends it to me another way. YouTube steals from me every stinking day. The federal government steals from me every stinking day. And guess what I keep doing? I just keep doing what God tells me to. So if you're working for the federal government, all of a sudden you find yourself in a position to answer an email. Answer the email. Because if you don't, I guarantee they're going to fire you. Because they don't know if you're an actual person. How do they know you're real? They just found millions of people on the Social Security roll that aren't even people, been dead for 300 years. So don't act like you're a victim. Don't. Just be like, okay, they cut my job. I'm going to go apply for another job. I'm going to be all right. God has me. And if your job is essential, they'll reinstate it. Just like they did when they realized, okay, we just cut 100 people that were working on bird flu scenarios and situations. We really need those people. Let's put them back in place. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, it's called birthing pains, folks. That's why I don't really, people are like, you don't have any empathy. You're making fun of them on TikTok because I do satire. I'm like, I'm really not making fun of the people. I'm making fun of the propaganda. You're acting like this is so horrible. But I remember people losing everything between 2020 and 2024. And what did the liberals and even some of the conservatives, even some of the Christians say? You deserved it. I don't think anybody deserves to lose a job that they work hard at and they're good at and they're qualified for. But let's all be very mature about this topic. Put your feelings aside. Let's look at the facts. 1, they just realized there are thousands of people working for the federal government that aren't real people. So they have to get that fake fraud out, which means when they drag the net, good people are going to get caught up in it. 2nd, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris hired 87,000 new IRS agents in 2021. 87,000 new IRS agents. These are people that did not have that job prior to 2021, 2022, 2023, or 2024, depending on when they were hired. You can go look that up yourself. They did that in every single department. They flooded them with new DEI hires to replace the people that would not be brainwashed and forced into being jabbed. So when I hear people say that he's putting in people that are ideologically aligned with him, I think to myself, much like what Joe Biden did when he fired people who didn't want an experimental drug in their body. So you can like me, you can love me, you can love to watch, you can love to hate and then watch me. I'm good with it. Because every day I'm going to get up and be true to myself. I'm going to admit where I'm weak. I'm going to admit where I'm wrong. I'm going to learn something new. And I'm going to keep on nailing it day after day after day, because I was anointed for a time such as this. Not YouTube, not haters, not liberals, and dang sure not Satan are ever going to muzzle me. So if you'd like to buy me a coffee, if you'd like to support my farm, do so. God will bless you. Ask anybody that's ever helped me or donated to us. It comes back to you time after time after time, because my God stands on his word, and I am a child of God. And when I tithe, I support my minority community in Southeast Louisiana and one of the poorest parishes in my state. When I have extra money, I'm able to help people by giving them cash jobs on my farm when they don't have vehicles to go work outside of the parish. So by helping me, you're helping my entire community. I love you guys so very much. Be blessed. be aware, be awake. And let me ask you this, should you believe your lying eyes or your lying ears? Ask you that every time you see a sob story about I was a federal employee. I mean, for the love of God, how many of them are y'all? I never got to see anybody on mainstream media or even social media whose videos stayed up when their jobs were taken illegally for not taking the jab, and those people were cut off. They tried to get on there and say they took my job from me, and repeatedly their voices were silenced. Well, I mean, I'm not being ugly, but maybe we should just silence all the federal employees' voices until they figure this all out. It's going to be okay. If you were good at your job and you were meant to work there, it'll work out. If not, find a new job. It's okay. You can do that. People have to do it all the time. Love you guys. Be blessed.